Morning. How are y'all doing? Good? I don't have a formal presentation. What I plan on doing is just talking real quick about what I'm seeing in the fields, and then I'm going to show a video, okay? And after that video, I think we're going to take a formal question and answer for those that are linked in remotely, and then we're going to conclude that portion, and we get to have fun, okay? We get to dissect our plants and see what's going on, okay? So in terms of the wheat crop, we're just as concerned as y'all are with our wheat, okay? The question first and foremost, is it dead? Yes. Main stems, tillers that were adjoining or beyond are dead. Be assured, okay? The question that we have is, are those tertiary tillers and other tillers going to be able to compensate for yield, okay? And that's sort of what we're, as researchers, scrambling around trying to get y'all the information. I've spent the last week out in the field looking at wheat, dissecting down these heads and trying to figure out what degree of damage we have. I had all of my research was at peak 6, which is beginning joining, up to peak 7, which is 2 detectable nodes. So we're talking some pretty big wheat, okay? About 2 foot for that peak 7. All of that is, if you dissect down the heads, they are dead. There is no visual symptomology to those stems yet, okay? From the windshield, those things look great, lush, beautiful, and green. When you get out to the field and start pinching the stems about 1 inch from the soil level, it feels a bit mushy, okay? If you take off about 2 or 3 leaves off that stem and pinch, it stays pinched, okay? What that tells me is that we're just waiting for those stems to die. So we got a couple of weeks before we start seeing sort of windshield symptomology is what I call it. You know, driving down the road at 40, 50 miles an hour, windshield symptomology is going to be a few more weeks, okay? Does someone have a question? No, somebody's making a joke. I didn't hear. It's probably good, though. The best thing about this year, if we have to look for the silver lining, is that these freeze events did occur early enough that we have quite a bit of time to make management decisions, right? We're not scrambling. We're not necessarily feeling the rush to make any management decisions. I know we need to get corn in the ground. That's what we're going to do pretty quick. But we're not at a mid-April, late April right now. We still have plenty of time. And so with that, I think, Kelsey, if you want to start this video, and then after that, we'll take questions.
Hi, I'm Carrie Knott with the University of Kentucky. I'm the Grain Crops Extension Agronomist. Today I'm going to talk about how to assess winter wheat freeze damage to a small developing head. In Kentucky, we don't often have freeze damage to our winter wheat crop. However, in the years that we do, such as this year, it's important to be able to assess that developing wheat head so that we can make management decisions as to whether we should keep this crop or whether we should terminate it and put in some other grain crops so that we can be as profitable as possible. The first step is digging the wheat plants. We'll go ahead and knock that soil off right now as much as we can. That way we're not bringing this back to the lab or the truck and getting everything messy. But once you have individual plants from several different places in your field, especially those low spots that are much more susceptible to freeze damage, we'll bring these back to the shop or the truck and we'll dissect these down and look at that developing wheat head.
Now that the plants are in your shop or office, we need to divide them into individual stems so that we can begin the dissection process. There are several ways to dissect out the developing wheat head. I will demonstrate 2. I like these large razor blades available at just about any store. The trick is that the blade you use needs to be very sharp, which rules out many of our pocket knives. The first dissection technique I will demonstrate removes all the outer leaves and provides us with the intact heads. The first step is to remove the outer leaves from the stem. Typically, I remove 3. And quite often that last leaf can be very tricky to remove and requires quite a bit of patience because at this point the stem is very fragile and can break easily. Now we are able to clearly see all of our nodes or joints of the stem. In this case, we have 2. 1 and 2 nodes. I typically cut about 1 inch above that highest node. And next, I cut the stem in half about 1/2 inch above that node and begin pulling the leaves off until I find that developing wheat head. On the right is a healthy wheat head. Healthy wheat heads are greenish yellow in color, firm to the touch, and somewhat glossy and translucent. They are also a bit triangular in shape with very distinctive serrated edges. On the left are 2 freeze-damaged heads. Freeze-damaged heads can be whiter, milkier, and lose that serrated edge. These freeze-damaged heads were dissected from stems that were at the Feek 7 growth stage, which has 2 detectable nodes. As more time passes between the freeze event and the date we inspect the heads for damage, the damaged heads will continue to decline. Here, the damaged head on the left is much thinner compared to the healthy head on the right. The second method of head dissection is to simply split the stem in half. With this method, you have the risk of cutting the head in half, but it is a bit simpler than the previous method. Once the stem is cut, you must find the head above the highest node. As with the previous method, once you find that head, you can now inspect the heads for freeze damage. I hope you have found this video helpful. For more information, please visit our blog or follow me on Twitter. This has been Carrie Knott with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Thank you for your attention and for all those that worked so hard to make this video possible.
And so as some of y'all have found out, that is posted to YouTube. And there's a link on the University of Kentucky Wheat Science page so that y'all can view that at your leisure. And that way when you go home and have questions, hopefully that'll help address some of those. And if you do have questions once you get home, or for those of you that are electronic, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll do my best to answer any questions. Any questions for me before I hand it back over to Edwin? Thank y'all.